Hi, I hope you're doing great and that your project managers don't bother you too much because we all know that developers and project managers, well, that is not always a love at first sight. After all, we are the one who are bothering you about some change that needs to go in at, I don't know, 6 p.m. on Friday. Or on the other hand, we are the ones who are keep pushing for features which do not make sense to you. However, I think that both developers and project managers play a fundamental role in a successful team. So I'm very convinced that project manager can make a difference, but this difference can be either very negative or wonderfully positive. So for this reason, I prepared this presentation about project management best practices, tools, and anti-patterns. The fundamentals of managing a project from start to finish require a team of individuals with different talents and skill. A good project manager is the glue that holds a project together and ensures quality and objectives are met on time and on budget. A sound project plan can mean a difference between a success and failure. Let's move on to the to-do list with what project managers needs to do, what project manager needs to do besides bothering developers. So first one, he or she defines a plan and organizes a chaos. So projects are naturally chaotic. The primary business function of project management is organizing and planning projects to tame this chaos. So a clear path mapped out from start to finish ensures the outcome meets the goals of a project. The second one on to-do list is that he or she establish and schedule a plan. So without a schedule, a project has a higher probability of delays and cost overruns. So a sound schedule is also a key to a successful project. The third one on to-do list is that he or she enforces and encourages teamwork. Every project brings people together to share ideas and provide inspiration. So collaboration is actually the cornerstone of the effective project planning and management. The fourth on to-do list is that he or she maximizes resources. Whatever we are talking here about financial or human resources, they are all expensive. And by enforcing project management discipline, such as project tracking and risk management, all resources are used efficiently and economically. The fifth one on to-do list from project manager is that he or she manages integration because projects don't happen in a vacuum. They need to be integrated with business processes, system, and organizations. So integration is often key to the project value. And the next one is that he or she controls cost because some project can cost a significant amount of money. They can be very expensive, and so the budget performance is essential. And by using project management strategies, they greatly reduce the risk of budget overruns. The next one is that he or she manages change because projects always happen in an environment in which nothing is constant except the change itself. So managing change is a complex and daunting task, and it's actually not optional. The change always happens. The eighth on to-do list is that he or she managing quality, which is the value of what you produce, because project management identifies, manage, and controls quality. This results in a high quality product or service and in a happy client. And the last one, which is very important, is learning for failure, because we all know that projects do fail And when they do, it's important to learn from the process, because project management ensures that lessons are learned and from project success and failure. Now I'll move on to the methodologies of different project management. On this image, you can see traditional methodologies marked with orange colors, and the ones from Agile framework are marked with green. So there you can see that some project management methodologies simply define principles, like Agile's. Others define a full stack methodology framework from themes, principles, and processes such as Prince2. Some are very light and simply define processes simply defines processes, for example, like Scrum. In today's project management world, forward-thinking managers and leaders don't adhere to a single methodology, and they become well-versed in many of them. And they learn how to mesh together various practices in order to achieve whatever the project calls for. So the best methodology, if you would like to know, is what makes sense and it's most suitable for the project team and the client. So choosing the right methodology is important because it defines how we work. It actually provides the structure that can guide us through the project success or failure. First, I will start with more traditional methodology, which is called Waterfall. It is linear sequential design approach where progress flows downwards in one direction, like a waterfall. So here, the responsibility of a project manager are managing project scope, cost, quality, personnel, reporting, managing risk, and adapting as requirements change at all falls under the project manager. This style of product development folds everything into a single big bang high risk release. So before a team can advance to the next step, the previous stage must be completed, reviewed, and approved. So here you can see a linear stages, which requires upfront planning and in-depth documentation. It's actually the best for simple, unchanging projects. On the other hand, we have Agile project management methodology that uses short development cycles to prioritize on continual improvement in the development of a product, where requirements and solutions evolve through collaboration between self-organizing cross-functional teams. So actually, when people talk about an Agile project management methodology, what they usually describe them is as a flexible, iterative design in a build process. So Agile projects are characterized by a series of tasks that are conceived, executed, and adapted as the situation demands, rather than pre-planned processes like in Waterfall. So Agile is characterized by the division of tasks into the short phases of work and frequent readjustment and adaptation of plans. So actually, there are a few Agile frameworks that you can see under the umbrella. I don't know, Extreme Programming, Lean, Crystal, Kanban, but the most commonly used ones are Scrum and Kanban. Agile project management divides huge responsibility among three roles: project owner, scrum master, and team members. Meanwhile, the waterfall is almost everything on the project manager. Where is Agile fitting? It's for the project where the client is uncertain of their desired outcome and seeks a rapid delivery time and wants to be closely involved in the design process. Alej Bencina had a very good Agile talk about it, I think in March, so I will not go any deeper in here. I will move to the tools. Actually, project management software helps project managers and teams collaborate and meet goals on time while managing resources and cost. Online, we can find plenty of options to choose from, and it's hard decision to make which one we will use. So, functions may include task distribution, time tracking, budgeting, resource planning, and team collaboration. Um, Software helps managers and team members to schedule tasks by offering a space for writing and saving them as lists, calendars, and more. And besides simply measuring productivity, time tracking software also builds an archive of valuable valuable data that can help business forecast dates for similar task or project in the future. As you know, time tracking is one of my favorite, and I think that you're all familiar with it, with that feature for which we are using teamwork. Um, Task management refers to the assignment of different responsibilities to various members of project team, while budgeting software is somewhat explanatory, and the added benefit of knowing how team members accrue expenses through the lifespan of the project. Analysis and reporting functions let project managers view data in a form other than Gantt charts. And the last feature is collaboration, which includes document sharing and internal messaging. I split project management softwares in three groups: lightweight, midweight, and heavyweight. Lightweight are designed for short, temporary project or teams with lightweight processes. This one example is Trello. Midweight, I don't know, Asana, Basecamp, Virka are more elaborate tools and are used for more complex processes. And we have heavyweight, which offers a lot of customization like Jira and Microsoft Project. I will shortly describe some of them just to have a quick overview. Trello, it simplifies workflow management with Kanban style boards, and users can watch cards for updates even if they aren't assigned. It has no reporting features, and setting up Slack integration can be messy. Trello is very helpful for teams who need to track tasks and stay on the top of the workflows, but don't try to use it like a traditional project management software because it's very lightweight, as I said. We have Virka. Virka is a very powerful project management solution that works for businesses of all sizes. The software lets you track time and manage projects, and it also has a mobile app. While it's a little bit pricier than some of its competitions, but it's very good to tackle projects of all sizes. Selling point on Virka is that it's really quick to set up and requires almost no training to use. Let me move on to the next. So Asana is better suited for ongoing work. It has Kanban boards by due date. Multiple report options are available for visualizing project status, and it's different from traditional project management apps, namely due to the lack of the structure. And here we have Jira, which started out as a bug and issue tracking application, but the software now comes in several editions, including Jira Core for project management. It evolved over the years into a highly customizable and feature-rich solution, which uses a hybrid Scrum-Ban approach, which combines Scrum and Kanban to adapt every user scenario. Uh, Jira can also be connected to Bitbucket and GitHub to provide backlog to deployment traceability. and new workflows can be created to synchronize from different practices users use, employ to build, test, and release the applications. Time estimations is likely the biggest sticking point between developers and project managers. Project managers are often under pressure to commit to firm deliverable dates, and the trouble here is that software development is often difficult to estimate accurately. So developers actually cannot be expected to work nights and weekends to overcome changing circumstances and to meet unreasonable deadlines. So that projects should be broken down into features, and features should be broken down into small stories. And each story should be estimated in relation to its complexity and the available resources. Um, in the book Software Estimation by Steve McConnell, he recommends few tips how to estimate. And first one is breaking the problem into the subproblems or subtasks. So no individual tasks should be more than 16 hours of work. If you're using story points, you may decide that, say, 20 points is the upper limit. And when something is estimated about your team's 16 hours or 20 points, there's a signal to break it down into the more granular pieces and re-estimate. The next tip from McConnell is estimate using ranges rather than giving an explicit date. So traditional software teams give estimate in a time format, days, weeks, months, but many agile teams, however, have transitioned to story points. So under the agile development practices, many teams use relative estimates rather than absolute estimates. Relative estimates rank user stories not by amount of time, but the level of effort required. For example, they use, t-shirt sizes, gummy bear colors, animals, cities, etc. So when you get higher numerical values, you need to further break down your stories. McConnell also has one tip, which is find similar completed tasks. So find out how long it took you to implement a feature in the same area. Essentially use your prior knowledge. So try, for example, pulling up at least 5 user stories the team delivered with a story point value 8, and then discuss whatever each of those work items has a similar level of effort. If not, discuss why. Use that insight in a future estimation discussion. And the next tip from McConnell is understand your margins. So if you're estimating something completely new, you might need to take 100% or even 400% factors. So be careful in those scenarios. And the last one is to communicate with the appropriate people about your estimation as you refine it. So, spending more time on understanding all the work involved and creating proper and accurate estimates will help spread the work out more evenly and allow the better time and project management. Also, it's important that you don't waste time estimating work that is likely to shift. And one good tip here is as team goes through more sprint cycles and they better refine your story ranking system, time estimates will become more accurate. The next we have movement hashtag no estimates. Lean principles generally leads to a continuous one-piece model of production flow. Kanban approaches generally limit work in a process for small teams. The ideal limit seems to be one. So it's important that you find out how much it can be done in a lifetime circle, in the circle time, in an agile development. Um, And if it's too much, it's also important that team slice into smaller stories what can be done in one lifetime circle. So planning becomes even easier because you need to understand your velocity and how many stories can you fit in one sprint, let's say. Uh, and after all, you spend minimal time estimating, and you might waste time a future with futures into splitting future into smaller stories. Um, and the last good practice is don't waste the devs under the bus. So when management is in your back, clients are pushy or deadlines are stretched, it's easy just to blame everything on the developer. So it's important that the project manager is not that guy or girl. So their job is to protect the team. And when management comes down with tough question or request, don't throw the devs under the bus, because the project manager should deal with those tough questions so the developers can continue doing their job. Likewise, when clients are getting pushy with deadlines or encouraging projects out of scope, uh, push it back. And I will move on to the last one, which are antipatterns. The essential idea is that antipattern is something that seems like a good idea when you begin, but leads into trouble. And here I combine for most common antipatterns in project management, the 99% rule. Um, That means you have completed 99% of the work, so the final piece should be the easiest to complete, right? So if you believe this, that means that you're guilty of 99% rule anti-pattern. It's a common mistake to underestimate the time and effort it will take to bring a project last little piece across the finish line. So granted, in agile development, this is less an issue, but it could affect release deadlines and schedule if the estimates weren't made accurately in the first place. The next anti-pattern is reinvent the wheel. Developers are often guilty of trying to build the biggest, the best, the flashiest thing possible, but on tight deadlines and budgets, project managers need to resist the temptation to over-engineer a solution. So if there's any build solution that will meet your immediate needs, it's important to use it. And actually, there is no need to reinvent the wheel every time you start the project. The third one of my favorite, out of scope. And this is actually one of the harder anti-pattern to overcome. You don't want the client to take advantage of your team, but you also don't want to come across as lazy and not providing the level of value to the customer for what customer hired you for. So how can we overcome this pattern is that we constant and proactive communicate, um, and if customer want to add an additional requirement, remind them of the scope and see if there anything that can be suited out. If not, consider alerting release schedules or adding additional teams to handle the additional work. And the last one is the imperial new clothes. So if you're involved in this anti-pattern, it means that you're presenting incomplete feature in such a way that makes it look like it's done. Beyond the ethical issue, this anti-pattern locks you into an ever-decreasing productivity spiral. So if you couldn't complete the requested features, you will have to jam them into the next one or keep putting new ones off. So project manager must be upfront and honest at all demos and deadlines. So if you're communicating effectively through the sprints, there will be no surprise when the project is delivered, complete or not. So that's it from my side. Thank you for your attention.